York.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On June 7th, I informed an oblivious government that Canadians will never get over nor accept a betrayal of their country's democracy by traitors who willingly sell themselves out for political and financial gain. Madam Speaker, instead of continuing a policy of denial, the Liberal government should cease resorting to any measure that could shield party colleagues who are on the payroll of foreign operators and who have willingly accepted various offers of foreign support to win party nominations and obtain electoral victory. Madam Speaker, Canadians are wondering why the government continues to refuse to release cabinet documents to both the Hogue Inquiry and to the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, NSICOP, so that any individual believed to have been a willing participant to treasonous activities can be investigated. Madam Speaker, what are they hiding? Is it the case that the Liberal Party does not want to incriminate its own members? The Minister of Public Safety, Democratic Institutions, and Intergovernmental Affairs answered my question with the audacity to claim that I had made something up and that the government has, quote, worked collaboratively, end quote, with the Hogue Commission. What a joke. Madam Speaker, the minister went on to indicate that, quote, officials from the Privy Council office are in regular and ongoing contact with the lawyers from the Hogue Inquiry to ensure that they have all of the appropriate and relevant documents to do the important work that all recognized parties in the House supported, end quote. Madam Speaker, someone is clearly making things up, but it's not me. And it is my honorable colleague who should be careful before making things up. Making things up in the House of Commons, Madam Speaker, because most Canadians do not believe that the government has come clean when it comes to what it knows about foreign interference in our country. Indeed, Madam Speaker, we currently have the Hogue Commission looking into foreign interference. We have NSICOP. We also had a special rapporteur take a shot at it. And we even had a few people in our national security agencies put their careers on the line to try to inform the public of what is known and what is being intentionally withheld by this government. Madam Speaker, there must be some fire with all this smoke. I don't think those entities feel they are making things up, and it seems like it's only the government that wants everything to go away, for people to just get over it. Why is that the case, Madam Speaker? Why is the Liberal government withholding over 1,000 documents from the Hogue Commission and the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians? And that is my question this evening, past midnight, here to fight for transparency for Canadians, Madam Speaker. What does this government have to hide?
Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is my pleasure to rise today to speak to the vital ongoing work that the Government of Canada is doing to protect Canada's democratic institutions. As all members of this House are aware, threats to Canada's democracy do not only affect Canadians, they affect all Canadians. That is why the enhancements to safeguard Canada's democratic systems and processes against foreign interference that are set out in Bill C-70 are supported across party lines. Indeed, the Government of Canada's ongoing work to protect Canada's electoral systems and democratic institutions includes efforts to maximize public transparency while protecting what and how government documents are shared. This is because the nature of some records and how they are intended to be used is fundamental to the functioning of our democratic system of government. I'd like to take this opportunity to make it clear that what cabinet confidences are and why they are treated so carefully by the government so that any misunderstanding along these lines can be put to an end. Cabinet confidences are documents that are prepared for members of Cabinet. They include memoranda to Cabinet, discussion papers, records of Cabinet deliberations, records of communications between ministers, records to brief ministers, and draft legislation. The Canadian government is, and has been since Confederation, a Westminster system of government. This means that the principle of keeping cabinet confidences secret is older than Canada itself. It originates from the United Kingdom's Westminster Parliament, which dates back many centuries. Cabinet confidences are central to how the Westminster system functions because of another foundational principle called cabinet collective responsibility. These principles complement each other as members of the cabinet consider all material at their disposal and deliberate and even disagree freely around the cabinet table. Once the deliberations are finished, cabinet makes a collective decision and all members are responsible for it. The secrecy of these deliberations and of the materials that are used to make cabinet decisions is therefore paramount to the system functioning as designed. This has been long understood by successive Canadian governments who have upheld the principle of cabinet confidences. In addition to the government, the Supreme Court of Canada has recognized that cabinet confidentiality is essential to good government. Protecting Canada's democracy also means protecting our democratic institutions and ensuring that they can function as intended. Protecting cabinet confidences is also not a nefarious act, but rather a fulfillment of the Canada's government's duty to uphold the long-established principles of Canada's system of government. While fulfilling this duty, the Government of Canada continues to support the ongoing work of the public inquiry into foreign interference that has since the inquiry was established last year. The set of cabinet confidences specified in the terms of reference for the Commission have already been provided during the Commission's first phase of work. Those terms of references were developed and agreed by all recognized parties in the House. As it was done all along, the government will continue to provide thousands of classified documents to the Commission and will continue to make government witnesses available to answer the Commission's questions. The Government of Canada looks forward to the Commission's final report in December and will consider how its recommendations can further help to enhance Canada's measures against foreign interference in its electoral systems and democratic institutions. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Spadina, Fort York.
Madam Speaker, Canadians deserve to know the truth. Canadians deserve to know who is involved, who profited politically and or financially, and how they will be brought to justice for their actions, just as much as those who have conducted foreign interference operations in our country. Why, Madam Speaker, is there such a reluctance by the government to provide Canadians with evidence of foreign interference? Why is it that when the Prime Minister went on CBC earlier today, when he was asked if there are any Liberal MPs on that NCCOP list who had betrayed Canada, he stammered and could not answer for over 10 seconds? What is the basis for that? And is the Liberal Party afraid of where it will end if they release the names?
To Secretary.
Madam Speaker, the Government of Canada continues to support the important work of the public inquiry into foreign interference that has done since the inquiry was established last year. The government continues to provide thousands of classified documents and to make government witnesses available to meet with the Commission to answer its questions. And while supporting the Commission's work, the government will also continue its ongoing work to protect Canada's democratic institutions. Protecting Canada's democracy is not a partisan activity. It requires constant vigilance and ongoing effort to meet the ever-changing threats to our democratic systems and processes. The Government of Canada takes this duty seriously and welcomes the efforts of all parliamentarians who are committed to this important work. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The motion to adjourn the House is now deemed to have been adopted. Accordingly, the House stands adjourned until later this day at 10 a.m. pursuant to Standing Order 24-1.